Next on Rugby Wrap-Ups, MLR Weekly, Dylan the Butcher Fawsitt of the Chicago Hounds. The best recap in rugby. The play of the week, Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News and John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning's Coffee Break. Rugby Wrap-Ups MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
Let's get it all started with rugby's best recap put to a tune that you might recall. Come and listen to my story about a man named Jed, a crazy back row in New England blue and red. Playing in L.A. after lacing up his boots, he made would-be tacklers look like a bunch of fools. Melvin, that is. Back row. The song is about Jed Melvin of the Free Jacks, who helped the reigning champions to an impressive win over the much-improved Los Angeles, still without a nickname team. Not to be ignored, 28 tackles by Joe Johnston. New England wins another one of those. It's too big a road trip to win matches. 24-17 FJs. The 1980 USA Olympic ice hockey team was the only other team to don red, white, and blue to have a more inconceivable win than that of Old Glory on the road in Miami. Down 29-10 late in the match that they dominated statistically, like 646 meters on the ground to Miami's 355 meters on the ground. It came down to as improbable an ending as you'll ever see. Nobody wanted the ball, except maybe Axel Muller, who snatched victory from defeat and two stunned Sharks' jaws, getting his third try at death. DC wins 31-29. NOLA last played at the Gold Mine on Airline in their first ever playoff game last year, and they came out firing, laying 35 points and 5 tries on an overwhelmed Anthem side. And along the way, they created a new joke about an Irish hooker in New Orleans, as Pat O'Toole scored 2 tries and got man of the match honors. NOLA wins 35-14. It was the Cats and Dogs Bowl trademark in Houston, where the SaberCats and Chicago Hounds pawed each other, behave, in a back-and-forth battle that saw both sides incur costly trips to the sin bin. But today's guest and man of the match, Dylan the Butcher Fawsitt, touched down over the whitewash twice, helping to upset the favored SaberCats in another statement road win for an Eastern Conference team. Final score, Windy City 25, Space City 22. Resuming the league's most storied and heated rivalry, the Seattle Seawolves traveled down to San Diego to face the New Look Legion. But Seattle had big changes of their own, drawing many eyes to this one. And when San Diego sprinted to a 35-point lead, many of us called our eye doctors. It was as clinical and comprehensive a victory for the home team in front of a great crowd of cohorts. But Seattle showed their grit, battling back with 4 tries in the second half to claim a valuable bonus point on the road. But what a day for San Diego, scoring 6 tries and winning 40-26. Whew! Let's take a break. A coffee break with Rugby Morning's John Fitzpatrick. John, how are you? I know you're in a rush. Okay, let's get right to it. Go ahead.
Matt, I was holding my breath during that entire break.
That's why I was taking so long.
Matt, I'm out of breath. How do you think the players are after a very exciting round 1? Seriously, you had to be pleased with how things went in round 1.
Not if you're coaching Miami.
Well, hey, we'll get to that in a second, but I thought the games looked great on the ESPN Plus platform. Maybe some feedback in that Miami-DC game, but they got that figured out, so that looked good. Free Jacks, their three-peat, off to a good start, squeaking by RFC LA, and look, you got to be impressed by what Chicago and San Diego did. Impressive starts for both of them. Anthem, maybe a little bit of work to do. And if you're Seattle, great comeback in the second half to get that bonus point. But you got to be a little bit worried going down 28. Oh, Matt. Whew.
Crazy. Seattle playing that second half and getting a bonus point on the road after being down by such a wide margin. That's impressive. The lack of preseason games hurt them. And maybe the preseason was their first half, right? But, we could talk about, I know you're going to talk about Old Glory, so I'll table that for now. But you got New England going into L.A., a much improved L.A. team. They look good. But with their backup quarterback, right? Patros, not there in the starting lineup. And New England still wins on the road in tense fashion, right? The red card to Jed Melvin at the end didn't help. And that's going to potentially affect them in the coming weeks. But you're right. What a great weekend. What else?
Well, I mean, look, kudos to New England for going out on the road and winning that one. LA, though, as we know, they were without a couple of big name players. Of course, Reese McDonald, he's not going to be back for a few more weeks. But RCLA, a few more weeks, rounds, months, you want to call it that.
They're at home in the sunshine, and New England had to fly across the country from the cold, right? I mean, I get it. We can argue both sides of this, but it was an impressive win.
Yeah, I mean, New England, though, if they're going to three-peat, they should be expected to win that game. Let's not make it a bigger game than it really was. It's been more impressive had RCLA had come back and actually tied it at the end there. Unfortunately, did not, but certainly a vastly improved team.
All right, let's cut to the chase. Let's get to the Old Glory win.
What else can you say about a thrilling come-from-behind victory from OGDC? They started off the game pretty hot, going up big, missed a couple of conversions, and then it got sideways for them in a hurry. I mean, let's talk about it. Miami is an improved side for this year. They are going to be a very competitive bunch. We saw it there. They've got players that they can counterattack and quickly. But that, I mean, kudos to Fly Half Jason Robertson for identifying the fact that, they were up 2-man, but there is Axel Muller all by himself down there on the wing. A gutsy cross the field kick.
He kicked it to two Miami defenders
to get it and dot it down. But Matt, hold on. The best part in all of this is the fact that try tied it up, but then they still had to make the conversion. I mean, that's not an easy kick. Certainly makeable, but a lot of pressure. Robertson steps up, nails it to take the lead. Matt, I got to ask you, you can have any kicker across the league. Whose number are you calling for a cross-field kick and a conversion kick to win it at the end?
Well, first of all, if I'm a number 6 or number 7 and I'm following him up the field and all of a sudden he kicks the ball away when we're out of time in death, I am rattling off WTFs like they'd be able to hear him in D.C. from Miami.
The clearance kick? The clearance kick?
He kicked
that,
the ball.
That got charged down.
He kicked possession away.
Well, again, when we're watching the game, we think the players know what time it is on. Just because we see it's gone into red, that doesn't mean the players don't know that. Maybe that wasn't fed to them because we've seen that happen before in past games. So just because the audience can see that the time is in the red.
It was the 84th minute or 83rd minute.
No, you're thinking of later games. Your history. What? I know you're getting up there in age, but your memory isn't quite right.
Oh yeah, I am. I'm thinking of Seattle scoring their bonus point try. Their bonus point try. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. But it was in the 90th minute.
You said 90th. Come on. It wasn't.
Yeah. It was in the 150th. No. But he kicked away possession. It was the last play of the game, wasn't it?
That kick should have gone. And that should have been not a great kick.
It was the last play of the match.
Kudos for OGDC. Maybe past teams would not have made Miami pay for that mistake. OGDC did. They were fortunate to get out of there with a win and 5 table points. What an exciting way to start round 1.
Oh, crazy. It was great. Great. And I was disappointed that Chris Dunleavy did not leap the fence and run onto the field again. And I, co-owner of Old Glory DC, Paul, you got to make sure Chris does that from now on. Well, what else, John? Because we're running out of time.
Hold on, Matt, because what you didn't hear, the other part of that story, though, is that Paul went into the audience after that win up in New England, and Paul apparently mixed it up with a little bit of the New England fans. That's the backstory you don't hear. So I don't know which side was crazier. But anyway.
We cannot confirm that at this time, and that's
go back and listen to the Glorious Rugby podcast. Myself and Alistair Kirschpool interviewed them, and it's on tape.
Alleged. Okay, alleged. Anything else, John?
Yeah, Matt, I just want to know, did you notice a reduction in scrums at all?
It was okay. It was much ado about nothing, maybe, hopefully. I don't want to see scrums abolished, and that's the road I don't want to go down. I like scrummaging. Just because we're not marketing it the right way doesn't mean it's not a good thing. We like offensive tackles. We like nose tackles. We like defensive end. That's what we'll miss, right? Everybody loves them in American football. Just got to market them better and do a better job of managing the scrum time, right? So hopefully we'll get there.
Looking ahead to week 2, it starts on Friday. Anthem taking on San Diego Legion. And then we'll see the Utah Warriors, their first action in the regular season. And if you mentioned that RFCLA, they are playing Houston. One of those teams may go down 0-2 unless there's a tie.
Unless there's a tie, unless there's a draw, kissing your sister. That's not what you want to do in rugby. You want to win. Okay. All right. Well, John, thank you very much. We gotta hustle you out of here because we got a packed show, including the butcher, Dylan Fawsitt, coming in from the green room after this. Thanks, John.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
How you doing? I'm Jim Hamilton. I'm at the Pig and Whistle. I'm at the famous Pig and Whistle. Look, I've come, I've got my rucksack on. I'm a well-known man around the world as one of the best rugby players to have ever played the game. No, I'm not. It's a lie. But we've got Paul O'Connell's montage on the wall. I've heard a lot about this place, and I'm here. Make sure, though, that you come here, but you also tune in to Rugby Wrap-Up.
And we're back with one of my favorite guests and one of my favorite players all time in Major League Rugby history, Mr. Dylan, the Butcher Fawsitt. Dylan, welcome back to MLR Weekly.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Now, Dylan, you're coming off a huge win in Houston. All the pundits, including yours truly, despite the fact that I feared you glaring at me for not picking the Hounds, picked Houston. And all picked, a lot of them are picking Houston to win the whole thing, knock off the Free Jacks with that whole three-peat stuff. But then you guys just go down and tip the apple cart. What was the feeling like winning that game?
Yeah, it was massive. There's we put a lot of work into it, Matt. There's been a lot of work done in the off season, and especially in the pre-season. Boys that come in the right condition to perform. So getting the first win of the season was massive, especially on the road. That Houston team will win a lot of games this year, so it was really important to get off to the right start.
And, it was a pretty impressive performance. It wasn't – you guys were in it the entire match. A couple of cards here and there, costing both teams. But ultimately, you guys were the better team on the field.
Listen, we didn't make things easy on ourselves, Matt. It would be nice to keep lads on the field. 15 would be nice, but listen, it's just the way it went. Delighted to get on the right side of the result, but now it's on to Utah.
Yeah, but just think about how many games you can win if you actually keep the 15 on the field for the entire match, right?
Exactly, Matt, exactly. But, we don't mind a bit of adversity here in Chicago.
And I know that you were not feeling well the week prior, right? You were a little under the weather. And the announcers are, commenting that he's catching his breath. You were on your knees, and what I was amazed watching you was the fact that you could be sitting on your knees and sit back on your legs. My knees would both snap simultaneously if I tried that maneuver. Yet there were a couple of times when you're just simply catching your breath, on a whistle where you're sitting like that. I mean, that impressed me more than most things, Dylan. I got to tell you. So it just goes to show the amount of work that you put in the gym and stretching and all that stuff.
But, just everything I do off the field gives me every opportunity to perform on the field, Matt. So, listen, it's my job. It's the best job in the world. So, what else am I going to do?
And I've asked you this before, but what's the more insane position? Lacrosse goalie or rugby hooker?
I can't speak for the cross goalies. I'm sure it's a pretty tough position. But
what about Gaelic football?
Yeah, another tough position, but they're both pretty good in their own right.
All right. Well, listen, you got a milestone coming up, and it could be cliche where I could talk to you after the 100th cap, but talking to you before the 100th cap was intriguing to me because I want to get a sense of what you're feeling. Is it something that you even thought about? Is it something that you're shooting for? How does it get in the fortress? on top of your shoulders.
Listen, Matt, these things are really special. It's been 8 years now coming, and, it's nice to be the first, of course. But, there's been a lot of hard work put into it, but I'm the privileged one to be getting this, I'm privileged to have called this my job for so long, and I've always been just one game at a time. But it's really special. For it is what it is. But it'll be even more special if we get the right result. So just gotta nail my stuff this week. It's another game, and just do my best for Chicago.
Well, as it goes traditionally throughout your career, if the day goes well for the butcher, it normally goes well for the team, and it's because of that hard work. But I just want to ask you the difference between last year and this year in the clubhouse or in the culture. Significant, same, continuity? What is it?
No, it's very different again, Matt. There's been a bit, there's been turnover, but the guys we brought in have really put their best foot forward, and they made a real impact. Listen, wins always help. You only really see how a team reacts when you lose. But hopefully we don't do too much of that this season. And but there's no lack of hard work in this team. There's a culture being built here over the last 3 years that we work hard for each other, and and that'll just prove we'll get the fruition on the field.
So from day one in your career in MLR, and you have been at this from hitting sleds in the dark at Randall's Island or at Columbia University with Marty standing on the sled barking at you guys. You were in Denver. I remember you with the Ohio Aviators. I remember there's so many times where I bopped up, but there's Dylan Fawsitt as well. So it's not like you're an overnight success. You've been at this for a long time, and you're not doing it on the wing. You're doing it at hooker. What drives you on a day-to-day?
I think I've just taken every opportunity, man. I've given myself, I've worked so hard to make sure that any opportunity I've ever gotten, I've taken, and I've tried to be the best I can be on and off the field for any organization. So I had just have a burning desire to perform and to, I reckon my greatest fear is, not reaching my full potential. So every day I strive for that. But I also love every minute of it. I understand how privileged I am to have this job, but and to have the mates and teammates that I have and I've made over the years, and the support from my family, it really is. I've been truly lucky.
Now, here's a dumb question from an outsider. The game has changed considerably in the past 5-10 years in terms of front row players specifically, how much time is expected out of them, how much time you have to go. What is your training philosophy in terms of 80 minutes? Are you training for 80? You're training for 65? What goes into that, and how much of a coaching staff decision is that?
Yeah, ideally, as a front row forward, you're not really an 80-minute man anymore. You're definitely relying on, and you want that impact off the bench. You want to give your best 60 to 70 minutes, and knowing that the guys coming off the bench are going to finish the job, or vice versa. It's just, but it's about consistency. It's about nailing your role. It's not about coming out here trying to be a Superman or make big plays. That will come if you trust the system and you perform. And if you nail your set piece, like we have to do it, especially in our position, you're going to give yourself every opportunity to do that on the field.
What does Dylan Fawsitt today say to Dylan Fawsitt 8 years ago about training and the MLR?
Nothing.
Same thing.
Yeah, no, it's I believed I was going to be here. I believed deeply that I was going to be the first to do this. And I've just been knocking off stuff throughout the years and just keep going. But ultimately it's about inspiring. It's about being able to look at the man in the mirror and know that I gave it my all, to do my family proud. All those things that are going to just inspire a nation, hopefully, to enjoy it and love the game like we we truly do. So, to have been in this position to be able to do that, it's been pretty special.
Well, it's on me and people like me to help introduce you to the American audience, because you're all so great off the pitch as well. I mean, you're the butcher, for Christ's sake, and there are bloodied cats all over Houston right now, and the butcher did it. So it's like we have to point that stuff out. I got a radical idea, and I want your opinion on this. Teams don't have big budgets, and we're trying to make players known to fans. What if we did away with the 1 through 23, and you had your own number the entire season? That way, you don't have to change the numbers on the back of the jerseys each week. You save that money. You also identify the players to the fans, so the kid can go out, like the little Cleavers out there, can go out and buy the butcher jersey, and it's Dylan's own number. The Cleaver is his son, by the way. What do you think of that?
It's above my pay grade, Matt, but honestly, I just speak true to the values of rugby and what's there before. The way it is that I've got to earn that jersey every week. It's not mine. I get the opportunity to wear it through the hard work and how by earning it. So, if it means having a jersey all year, yeah, I've earned it because I'm in the squad, all that sort of stuff. If that's the way to go, that's fine. But just the mentality I have every week is, if I nail my stuff, I perform to the best of my ability, then, I won't be giving it back.
All right, so I got two things out of that. Number one, you're a traditionalist. And number two, you said that you don't speak of things above your pay grade. I've never known you to mince words on any topic at all. Who's kidding who here?
Listen, Matt, you're doing a great job. You keep inspiring out there, man, and I'll keep coming on. Right?
You got to run for office after this, because you're dodging all the questions. You're handling it with expertise of a veteran, a grizzled veteran. And Dylan, I got to tell you, congratulations. Another spectacular match. I'm looking forward to another great season for you guys, the Hounds, and you. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
It's my pleasure, Matt. Listen, it's an exciting year, and stay tuned, everyone. It's going to be fun.
All right, Dylan the Butcher Fawsitt. Thank you, sir. And now it's time for the Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network. Sure, you can point to some other great plays in an exciting opening weekend of MLR 2025, but come on. There is nothing that beats the final sequences in the Old Glory win over Miami in front of a stunned Sharks crowd. You couldn't script it if you tried. With both teams crucially playing hot potato, the match ended in an absolutely mad fashion, with Axel Muller touching it down for the try at death. And Jason Robertson's conversion provided the necessary margin for victory. And that is this week's Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network.
I wouldn't like to be at the bottom of that.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. Here's your TRO, the Rugby Odds MLR Picks of the Week via WWE Hall of Famer turned rugby advocate John Bradshaw Layfield, legendary USA Olympic Sevens coach Mike Friday, and King Gifte Belu, inventor of words.
I'm going Miami at home. I think they've learned their kicking lesson. I think they've got enough, and I think they surprised people last week. They weren't far away from winning the game.
Houston gets the bounce back against LA on the road, covering for that 3 and that -3.
Give me Nala going in there into Miami.
And we're back, and Bryan Ray, it's amazing, but it seems like it was just yesterday where we'd have you giving your thoughts on the MLR matches and then predicting the games. And here we are. How are you? And what did you make of the weekend?
Doing all right. A couple surprise results, a couple good teams out there that, we thought might perform a little bit better. Got kind of beat up a little bit in this opening round. So it all bodes well, I think, going forward, certainly for the competitiveness of the league.
All right, Bryan, we're running out of time, but we got to get your picks for the week, right? So these spreads are from the Rugby Odds, TRO spreads. And the first game up is the Anthem hosting San Diego in North Carolina. San Diego road favorites by 16 points.
I think we'll see a little bit of squad rotation from the Legion for this one, and hopefully a few changes, I think, for Anthem. Some of those performances just weren't good enough against NOLA, so hopefully Yaramia changes up that forward pack a little bit. I think, strong win here for San Diego. I think they'll cover that spread.
Then you've got the Hounds, who had that big win in Houston. They're now home against the team coming off a bye, the much-changed Utah Warriors, and Chicago hometown favorites by 3 points.
Really interesting game, maybe the most interesting. Well, there's a couple to be fair, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Our first look at Utah. They got some really interesting talent in this year, a lot of changes, so we'll see how they do. And Chicago, you have to say, pretty impressive win over Houston, a very tough Houston side in Houston. So, man, this is a close call. I'll take Chicago at home, but I think that +3 is right about on the ball.
And then you've got Miami coming off that devastating loss, hosting NOLA, who's on the front foot, as they say. NOLA, road favorites by 4 points.
Yeah, I like that spread. I think Jose Pelisano will be absolutely vicious at his squad this week. It'll be a couple tough days in practice, so I'm looking forward to an improved Miami side, but I'm also looking for an improved NOLA side as well, and they looked pretty good against Anthem, so yeah, I'll take your number.
And then we have an intriguing matchup between LA and Houston. And barring a tie, as John Fitzpatrick pointed out earlier in the show, one of these teams is going to be 0-2. And it's Houston's favored by 3 points on the road.
Yeah, another interesting one. And I think we'll see some lineup changes for the SaberCats. They won't be happy with that loss at home. They really mixed it up. Started maybe not their strongest tight five. I think we'll see that change. So I would expect Houston to win this one. But I think it's going to be another entertaining game. And, LA are looking interesting. They'll start to grow as we get into the season. But I'll take Houston in this one.
Will we see Billy Meeks at 10?
I don't know what is Sam Harris just trolling everybody. I don't know what's going on there. I'm certainly not on that side though, but it was only for a few minutes in the last game, so who knows what's going to happen this week.
Well, but he also tends to play everywhere, right? Especially when his team is up against it. Billy's that kind of guy. He's in rucks, he's hitting ball, he's doing it all, right? I mean, he'll be taking lineouts this week. But whatever it takes. All right, Bryan, we are out of time. I want to thank you, sir, for coming on once again. I'm looking forward to another full season of your wisdom and predictions. Easy for me to say. But on that note, we're out of time. So thank you to Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News. Thank you to John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning. Mr. Dylan Fawsitt, the butcher of the Chicago Hounds. And thank you for tuning in. Please check out the critically acclaimed The Rugby Odds. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. Tell your friends about us. And please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.